Hey everyone, let's just dive right into this. If you own a home, at some point you are absolutely going to face a high-stakes flooring purchase. And let's be totally honest, walking into one of those huge flooring showrooms, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. There are literally thousands of swatches, wildly different price points, and those pretty aggressive sales pitches. But today, we're giving you the Insider's Playbook. Consider this explainer your essential survival guide for buying carpet. We're going to help you navigate the materials, see through the marketing, and dodge those hidden installation traps so you can make the absolute best investment for your home.
So I've got to ask you a pretty blunt question. Is your carpet actually making you sick, or is it just wasting your money? It's a serious question. A lot of us look at an old floor and just see an aesthetic issue, right? Like a color we're just tired of looking at. But the reality of an aging carpet goes way deeper than that. As those fibers break down over the years, they literally become a trap. They hold on to dust, allergens, and pet dander that even the best vacuuming just can't pull out anymore. And that directly impacts the air you're breathing every single day.
So how do you actually know if your carpet is completely dead and not just, really dirty? Well, look for a few telltale signs. First up is matting and fraying in high traffic areas. Think your hallways and stairs. Once those fibers are totally crushed and lose their spring, no amount of professional cleaning is going to magically bring them back. Second, persistent odors. If you get a pro to clean it and a week later your living room still smells like your golden retriever, that odor has fully penetrated the padding underneath. Third, you've got stubborn stains that just refuse to lift. And finally, if you or your family are noticing worsening allergy symptoms indoors, lots of sneezing, watery eyes, your carpet might just be at maximum capacity for trapped allergens. If you're checking these boxes, it's definitely time for a replacement.
Okay, let's move into Section 1, the expiration date. We really need to understand carpet lifespans. Because here's the thing, not all carpets are created equal, and they all have a distinct expiration date that's based almost entirely on the type of fiber they're made out of. What's absolutely fascinating here is the sheer difference in longevity based on your initial choice of material. Like if you go with a budget-friendly polyester carpet, you are looking at a lifespan of roughly 5 to 8 years. We average that out to about 6.5 years before it starts showing major wear and tear. Then you have Triexta sitting in the middle, giving you a solid 11 years. But if you invest in nylon, you're looking at an impressive 12 to 15 years, averaging out at 13.5. So when you're comparing price tags in the store, you have to factor in that a nylon carpet could literally last twice as long as a polyester one.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, the Great Fiber Showdown. It's nylon versus polyester.
This is the classic dilemma, right? You walk in and you're immediately faced with this choice. In one corner, we have nylon. Nylon is widely considered the absolute gold standard in the flooring industry. It's the performance leader purely because it is highly resilient. When you step on a nylon fiber, it compresses under your weight, but then it bounces right back up. This makes it an absolute powerhouse for heavy foot traffic. The catch? It definitely comes with a higher upfront cost, and it isn't naturally stain-proof, meaning it usually needs a chemical treatment to fend off spills. In the other corner, we have polyester. Now, this is your budget option. The biggest advantage here, besides that lower price tag and some really vibrant color options, is that it's inherently stain-resistant. Liquids just naturally want to roll right off it. But, and this is a pretty big but, it is a lot softer and significantly less resilient. If you put polyester in a busy hallway, it's going to crush and mat down over time, and it won't bounce back.
But what if there's a middle ground? Let's hit Section 3, the Goldilocks fiber. We're talking about Triexta, the rhino-tested hybrid.
For the longest time, consumers basically just had to make a tough call. Do I want to pay more for durability or save some cash to get that stain resistance? Well, a newer contender has entered the market. Triexta was designed specifically to bridge that gap between nylon's crazy strength and polyester's natural stain resistance. It's a highly resilient, spring-like fiber, but what makes it truly a game-changer is its molecular structure. The stain resistance is permanently built right into the core of the fiber itself. That means it doesn't rely on some topical chemical treatment that's just going to wash or wear off after a few years of steam cleaning. The protection is 100% permanent.
And this next story brilliantly illustrates just how confident the manufacturers are about this fiber. To prove Triexta's durability, Mohawk Flooring literally invited a 2-ton rhinoceros to live in a custom enclosure fully carpeted with their SmartStrand Triexta for 2 whole weeks. I mean, just imagine the mud, the mess, and the sheer crushing weight of a rhino. After the 2 weeks were up, they went in and were able to wash the carpet completely clean using nothing but eco-friendly soap and water. No heavy, harsh chemicals at all. So honestly, if it can handle a literal 2-ton rhino, it's probably going to be just fine with your golden retriever and your toddlers.
And aside from being tough as nails, there's another really fascinating aspect to Triexta. When you break down the composition of the Sorona polymer used to make it, 63% is made of standard polymers, sure, but 37% actually comes from renewable plant-based ingredients, specifically corn. So not only are you getting this super durable, highly stain-resistant carpet, but you're actually making a slightly more environmentally responsible choice by supporting renewable agriculture. Pretty cool, right?
All right, shifting gears entirely to Section 4, the installation price trap, big box stores versus local specialists. Okay, so let's say you've picked your perfect fiber. The battle is won, right? Well, not quite, because buying the carpet is really only half the equation. Getting it properly installed in your house is where the real nightmare can begin. To get an impartial look at the reality of this, we turned to a massive discussion thread on Reddit's flooring community, where homeowners and contractors were sharing their honest experiences. One user perfectly captured the general consensus about big box stores, saying they will just change order you during the job itself. When they tear your floor out, you are over the barrel. That highlights a massive frustration. The price you see on that big flashy sign in the store is rarely the price you actually end up paying.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding how a quote that starts out at $3.70 a square foot at a giant retailer ends up being basically the exact same as the $8.50 a square foot quote you got from the high-end local specialist down the street. It feels like a bait and switch. You see the $3.70 and think you're getting an amazing steal, but as the Reddit community points out, that lower number usually only covers the absolute bare minimum labor of rolling out and tacking down the carpet.
So what exactly is missing from that initial cheap quote? Well, pretty much everything else required to actually finish the job. These turn into mid-job change orders. Suddenly you're getting charged extra for the tear-out and disposal of your dusty old carpet. You're charged for any subfloor leveling or prep work. Oh, did you leave your couch in the room? Yep, that's an extra charge to move it. Baseboard removal. Undercutting your door jambs so the new floor actually fits. The transition metal strips for the doorways. All of these just keep getting tacked on. By the time the job is completely done, boom, you've hit that $850 mark anyway, but with a whole lot more stress along the way.
And cost isn't the only concern brought up in our source material. Quality of labor is a huge sticking point. Another Reddit user impartially noted, they hire the worst of the worst and have the least trained salespeople. They use bottom-tier installers. The explanation here is that large corporate retailers very often subcontract their installation work to the absolute lowest local bidder just to preserve their own profit margins, which means it's entirely a game of roulette. You might get a fantastic, experienced crew, or you might get a highly inexperienced one.
And think about what happens when things go wrong. Let's say they rip up your old carpet and they find serious water damage or a completely uneven subfloor. According to the industry sources on Reddit, if you're dealing with a big box retailer subcontractor, that is a full job stopper. They will literally pack up their tools and tell you to go hire an outside carpenter to fix it before they even think about coming back, leaving you living in a literal construction zone. Conversely, local specialist stores very often use Class A contractors. If they find a subfloor issue, they actually have the skills to fix it right on the spot. Now yes, you are still going to pay for that repair, but the job doesn't completely halt and you aren't left staring at a concrete slab in your living room for 2 weeks. Plus, if there's any warranty issue later on, a local shop who both sold and installed it can't play the finger-pointing game. The buck stops completely with them.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, protecting the investment. How to maximize your carpet's life.
So you've chosen a durable fiber, you went ahead and hired a reputable local installer, and your gorgeous new floor is finally in. How do you actually protect it? According to our expert sources, there's a very simple 3-step checklist to ensure you actually get those 12 to 15 years out of your new floor. Step 1 is totally defensive. Vacuum your high-traffic areas at least twice a week. Dirt acts like tiny little razor blades on carpet fibers. You have to get it out before it gets ground in. Step 2, hire a professional deep cleaner every 12 to 18 months to extract whatever your vacuum is missing. And Step 3, when a spill inevitably happens, address it immediately by blotting it with a towel. Never, ever rub it. Rubbing destroys the twist of the fiber and just pushes the stain way deeper into the pad.
So armed with all this information from our explainer, you're no longer at the mercy of a slick showroom sales pitch. You know the actual chemistry of the fibers, you understand the realities of their lifespan, and you know exactly how to dodge that bait and switch pricing game. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Before you sign that next estimate for your home renovation, take a really close look and ask yourself, what hidden costs are lurking in your quote? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy renovating.